The Hinterkaifeck Murders. Location: Hinterkaifeck, Germany. The Hinterkaifeck Murders remain one of the most unsettling and perplexing murder cases in Germany. In 1922, 6 members of the Gruber family were murdered at their remote farmhouse in Bavaria. The victims included the elderly couple Andreas and Cecilia Gruber, their daughter Victoria, her children, and the family maid. The strange part of this case is that the murderer may have lived in the attic of the farmhouse for several days after committing the murders. The family was killed one by one in a gruesome manner with blunt force trauma and a gunshot. A bloody trail was found throughout the house, with the bodies arranged in a macabre manner. Evidence suggested that the killer had eaten the family's food, fed the livestock, and even slept in their beds in the days following the murders. It's suspected that the killer was someone close to the family. The investigation revealed that the family had reported hearing strange noises coming from the attic, and their maid had reported feeling uneasy in the days leading up to the murders. The case remains unsolved, with multiple theories, including a possible family dispute or a hired killer, being proposed, but none have been conclusively proven. The Forest of Dean Murders. Location: Gloucestershire, England. The Forest of Dean in Gloucestershire, England, has long been a site of mysterious and disturbing deaths. It has become infamous due to a series of brutal murders that took place between the 1940s and 1950s, though not all are officially linked. One of the most disturbing cases was the discovery of a woman's dismembered body found in a hollow tree. Her limbs had been hacked off and her body was left in an almost unrecognizable state. The murderer, believed to be a local man, reportedly used the dense forest to hide the bodies of his victims. The remote nature of the area and its thick foliage provided an ideal hiding place for such crimes. One of the more sinister aspects was the lack of obvious motive or connection between the victims, leading some to believe that the killer was a serial murderer operating in the area. Despite the horrific nature of the murders and the intense investigations that followed, the killer was never apprehended, and the case remains unsolved. The Forest of Dean has since gained a reputation as a place of eerie and unsettling events. The Legend of the Black Forest. Location: Black Forest, Germany. The Black Forest in southwestern Germany is shrouded in dark legends, and it is notorious for its connection to numerous disappearances and unsettling deaths. The forest has long been a site of eerie tales and mysterious events. One of the most chilling stories comes from the disappearance of a group of children who wandered into the forest and were never seen again. Months later, their remains were discovered, scattered across the trees in a dismembered state. The forest, with its dense canopy and eerie quiet, has long been believed to have a supernatural presence, with stories of ghostly apparitions and strange creatures lurking within the trees. Over the years, several disappearances have been linked to the forest, including cases where people were found mutilated, with limbs missing and signs of blunt force trauma. Despite numerous investigations, there are still cases where no explanation has been found, leading to theories about both serial killers and supernatural forces. The forest's ominous reputation as a death trap has led many to avoid venturing too deep into its heart. Only the best detectives can click on like and subscribe button before the time runs out. Right done if you did on time. The Tamam Shud Case. Location: Somerton Beach, Australia. In 1948, a strange and gruesome death took place on Somerton Beach, near Adelaide, Australia, that has baffled authorities for decades. The body of a man was discovered lying on the beach with no identification, and his cause of death was never conclusively determined. The only clue found on the man was a scrap of paper in his pocket, with the words Tamam Shud, meaning ended in Arabic. This led authorities to a copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a Persian poem, which had been left in a car nearby. Inside the book was a coded message, leading many to believe that the man's death was tied to espionage or a secret spy operation. The man was never identified, and several theories have emerged ranging from an elaborate suicide to a Cold War-era assassination. Some believe that he may have been part of a complex spy operation, but no definitive answers have been uncovered. The man's identity and cause of death remain one of Australia's most baffling mysteries. The murder of the Stanford family. Location: Oregon, USA. In 1974, the Stanford family, a mother, her 2 children, and a family friend, were brutally murdered while camping in the remote Oregon wilderness. The family's bodies were found in their tent, with each victim showing signs of stabbing and blunt force trauma. The crime appeared to have been carried out by someone who knew them, as there were no signs of struggle, and the killers, did not take any valuables. The brutality of the crime, combined with the remote location, made it difficult for investigators to gather evidence. Despite theories that the murder may have been the work of a serial killer or a targeted attack, the case remains unsolved. Over the years, several suspects have been named, but there has been no conclusive evidence linking anyone to the murders. The Stanford family's tragic death in the wilderness has left the case open and haunting, with no resolution in sight. The Sande Village Murders. Location: Nigerian forest. In 2010, a series of horrific murders shook the village of Sande in Nigeria, where a group of local criminals launched a brutal spree targeting men, women, and children. The victims were mutilated in horrifying ways, with bodies found dismembered, burned, and scattered across the surrounding forest. The killers were believed to be part of a gang involved in tribal conflict, and using the forest as a hideout for their violent acts. The murders were part of a wider pattern of violence in the region, with the forest providing the perfect cover for such grisly crimes. Some bodies were left in pieces, while others were set on fire. Despite several arrests, the killers were never fully captured or held accountable, and the investigation faced significant obstacles. The Sande Village Murders continue to be a chilling reminder of the ongoing violence in parts of Nigeria. The Suicide Forest. Location: Aokigahara Forest, Japan. Aokigahara, known as the Suicide Forest, is infamous for being a place where hundreds of people take their lives each year. The dense forest, located at the base of Mount Fuji, is eerily quiet, with no sound except the wind rustling through the trees. The forest's reputation as a suicide hotspot has been exacerbated by its eerie atmosphere and the many stories of those who have ventured in and never returned. Many people come to Aokigahara with the intention of ending their lives, and the bodies found there often show signs of hanging or asphyxiation. Some bodies are discovered months after the person has died, decayed to the point of being unrecognizable. The forest's connection to death has made it a subject of fascination and fear, but it is also a place where the grief and despair of many individuals manifest in tragic ways. The forest continues to hold a tragic allure, with some individuals even leaving behind notes or belongings hoping to be found. The Dyatlov Pass Incident. Location: Ural Mountains, Russia. The Dyatlov Pass Incident is perhaps one of the most mysterious and disturbing events in the history of mountaineering. 9 experienced hikers, led by Igor Dyatlov, set out for a ski expedition in the Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia. After they failed to send a telegram, a search party was dispatched. The group's tent was found torn open from the inside, with belongings scattered around, indicating that they had fled in a hurry. The hikers were found at various distances from the camp, some with horrific internal injuries, including crushed ribs and skulls. In addition to the internal injuries, some of the hikers were missing their eyes and one was missing her tongue. Their bodies were also found in an advanced state of decomposition despite the freezing temperatures. Some theories suggest an avalanche or katabatic winds caused the injuries, but others point to more sinister explanations, including a military experiment, a Yeti attack, or extraterrestrial involvement. Despite various investigations and an official inquiry, no definitive answer has emerged.
I don't think you can click on the next video before 3 seconds runs out. 3, 2, 1.